Hi, Josh Zaring, Zaring Studios. Today I'm going to show you how I focus stack using a different method than normal, where you would just incrementally move your focus ring. The way I'm doing it is through live view. You zoom way in with your buttons on the back of your camera and get in focus what you need in focus, basically by moving your focus point and viewing it on your LCD. It's a tiny bit faster than just moving your focus ring incrementally, but not by much. When you're shooting a product or stock photography, whatever you want to call it, sometimes you'll be close, maybe even with a macro lens, and what's in focus is just the focal plane. No matter how far you stop down, there's still something blurred. So focus stacking is a way of getting around that by taking multiple photos and actually physically stacking them in Photoshop and having Photoshop shuffle through all the photos and find the sharpest points of every photo, basically the best parts of each photo. If you did it right, what you're left with is a completely in focus photo, and you can still blow out the background, you can still make a blurry background. You just use a more open aperture and just make sure you get all your points, because your focal plane now becomes a lot more narrow. So when you're focusing, there's barely anything in focus, just that tiny bit. So if you're shooting at 1.4 or 1.8, you're gonna have to take a lot more photos than if you're f8 or higher than that. I'm gonna be shooting an f8, so the overlap will be pretty huge with what's in focus and what's not in focus. I could stop down to like f22, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna take enough photos so that it overlaps. That's more of a sweet spot of the lens there. If I stop down to f22, you might see some sensor dust or something crazy that you didn't know was there. So I'm gonna stick right in the middle ground there with f8. Lighting this is going to be the Yongnuo YN563 speed light. It's a manual speed light, and I have that at 1/4 power, and on top is a Gary Fong light modifier. Over here we have another Yongnuo YN563 at 1/4 power through a 16-inch beauty dish and a sock to soften that up. I'm going to be shooting this at 45 millimeters with a Nikon 24-120 f4 and a Nikon D610. The scene is made up of a phone with a black bumper, a Fitbit with a black band, and a black e-cigarette, aka a vape, with a Manhattan mod and a little boy RDA on top. I start by going into live view and zooming in as far as I can, manually focusing and then taking the shot. And you can see that's real clear. And I just shift to every single focal plane that I know I want to overlap, and that being, you know, corner to corner, the whole way back, from front to back basically. As you can see, a lot is in focus, judging by the LCD on the back of the camera, but it'll be almost in perfect focus once you combine all the images. Now you'll notice when I get to the vape here, I'm going to go probably the bottom here, part way up to get the edges sharp, and then a couple at the top because there's several different levels here. Right where it connects to the mod battery compartment, and then where it actually says the brand name and the model, and then on top, the top ridge of that where there's text, and then up at the top, the very tip of the vape. And this is after combining all 11 images. Everything that can be in focus is in focus. When you get into stock photography and product photography, it might be frustrating at first when you think you have it in focus and you stop way down and still the back end or the tip or whatever you're taking photos of ends up being thrown out of focus, and basically it just doesn't work. So this is a really great method of taking a load of photos and making sure everything's in focus. Check back for the next video. I know I showed you the end results of this, but the next video I'm going to show you in Photoshop how I actually combined them. It should be a fairly pain-free video. Stacking can get you a lot of cool results for lots of different types of photography, not just product photography. You can use it to blend panoramas, exposures, all sorts of things, because what it will do is line up everything that's able to be lined up in the photo. It's almost like when you stitch a panorama together and Photoshop recognizes what's common in each photo. But the next video I'm going to show you how I do that. For now, please hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, keep creating, and keep it awesome. Join me on patreon.com to take part in special rewards like priority question and answer, Lightroom and Photoshop presets and actions, BTS videos and photos, previews for upcoming content, and even suggest ideas for tutorials. And also you have the option of being credited for your support of Zaring Studios, which is really cool. Check it out at patreon.com/JZaring.